What if I told you that one of Ryan Gosling's heroes survives explosions while the other tries to save the entire human race alone in space? Same actor, completely different kind of courage. Let's break it down. Hi everyone, welcome back to Elena Majmik, the place where movies aren't just watched, they're understood. I'm Elena, and today we're diving into a fascinating comparison of two very different heroes played by Ryan Gosling. Let's get into it. Imagine two very different heroes played by the same actor. One is a stuntman, constantly risking his life in a chaotic, action packed world, and the other is a lone scientist stranded in space, carrying the weight of humanity on his shoulders. Today, we're comparing Ryan Gosling's characters in The Fall Guy and Project Hail Mary. Two roles that showcase completely different sides of what it means to be a hero. And let's start with The Fall Guy. Here, Gosling plays Colt Seavers, a professional stuntman. He's not a traditional hero, at least not at first glance. Colt is a guy who literally takes hits for a living. He's thrown off buildings, crashes cars, and gets set on fire, all so movie stars can look good on screen. But beneath the explosions and humor, there's something deeper. Colt represents a grounded, physical kind of bravery. He's human, vulnerable, and often unsure of himself. His heroism comes from persistence, getting back up after every fall, both physically and emotionally. Tremendous. Now, compare that to his role in Project Hail Mary. In this film, Gosling plays Ryland Grace, a middle school science teacher turned reluctant astronaut. Unlike Colt, Ryland isn't used to danger. He's not trained to fight or survive extreme conditions. In fact, he's terrified, but that's exactly what makes him compelling. His journey is about intellectual courage, facing the unknown, solving impossible problems, and overcoming fear, not with strength, but with curiosity and determination. What's fascinating is how these two characters approach danger. Colt runs toward it. It's part of his job. He's conditioned to accept pain and chaos as normal. Ryland, on the other hand, is forced into danger. Every step he takes in space is filled with uncertainty. Where Colt relies on muscle memory and physical skill, Ryland depends on logic, science, and quick thinking. And another key difference is their relationship with identity. Colt struggles with being invisible. Being as a stuntman, he's always behind the scenes, never getting credit. His arc is about reclaiming his sense of worth, realizing that he matters even if the spotlight isn't on him. Ryland's story flips this idea. He starts as an ordinary, almost forgettable person, but is suddenly thrust into a role where he might be the most important human alive. His challenge is accepting that responsibility and believing he's capable of something extraordinary. Emotionally, the contrast is just as strong. The Fall Guy leans into charm, humor, and romance. Colt is witty, sarcastic, and uses humor as a defense mechanism. His struggles feel relatable in a very down-to-earth way. Project Hail Mary, however, is more introspective. Ryland's isolation in space creates a quieter, more psychological narrative. His emotional journey is about loneliness, fear, and ultimately connection, even in the most unexpected ways. And yet, despite all these differences, there is a common thread that ties both characters together. Resilience. Both Colt and Ryland are constantly pushed beyond their limits. They tail, they doubt themselves, and they face overwhelming odds. But they keep going, and that's what makes them heroes Fu, not protection, but persistence. Ryan Gosling's performance in both roles highlights his versatility as an actor. In The Fall Guy, he brings charisma and physicality, making action feel fun and personal. In Project Hail Mary, he shifts into a more internal performance, carrying much of the film through subtle expressions and emotional depth. It's a reminder that heroism isn't one size fits all. It can be loud and explosive or quiet. So, which hero is more compelling? That really depends on what you value. If you admire grit, physical bravery, and a touch of humor, Colt Seavers might be your pick. But if you're drawn to intelligence, vulnerability, and the power of the human mind, Ryland Grace offers something truly special. In the end, both characters show us different sides of courage. One fights gravity and explosions, the other fights isolation. And together they prove that sometimes the greatest heroes aren't the ones who look the strongest, but the ones who refuse to give up, no matter the odds. Thanks for watching, Minus, and let me know in the comments which version of Ryan Gosling's hero do you prefer?